Hey, welcome to the Northwest Georgia Football 6 AAA prediction show for 2022. I'm once again joined by Chris Napier, North Murray Mountaineer correspondent for Team FYN. He was our 6 AAA expert last year. His Mountaineers no longer in 6 AAA, but he knows a lot about these teams.
Yep.
We'll give everybody a few seconds to get in here, but we're going to go through the teams in the new 6 AAA. Then we'll throw out our Player of the Year predictions, and then we'll predict the four teams for the playoffs.
Yep. A whole new region. Uh,
Whole new region.
Six AAA. It's brand new. Sonorville from last year. They've moved on to 4A. Three other teams have moved out of the region, which was a 9-team region last season. Rockmart, Murray County, and North Murray are all now in 7AA. And so joining 6 AAA this year was Ridgeland, Bremen, and Gordon Lee. So this is unlike anything you've seen in the past with 6 AAA. Big moves.
Yeah, I think if you look on paper, man, this is probably one of the most competitive top to bottom of any of the
Yeah.
regions we cover here in Northwest Georgia.
Yep. Yeah. I really see Adairsville as that standout team. I think this will probably be the team we talk about first if we're going alphabetical order. They bring a bunch back, and they bring some really talented players. Chris Roper, is a guy who I think that's one of my picks for that offensive player of the year. This is a guy who can do everything. So he can, receiver, running back. He plays great defense. And he's a big senior years coming for this kid. He's a leader of that Adairsville Tiger team. We'll talk about Adairsville later when we're doing the rankings. Uh,
Yeah, I think if you look on paper, they're one of the only teams in Northwest Georgia that return their quarterback, running back, wide receiver,
yeah,
offensive lineman, linebackers, DBs. They got guys returning all over the field from a team that went down in the playoffs last year in the first round and gave Oconee County all they could handle.
yeah. I thought they were going to beat Oconee County. Uh, Two other guys coming back had big games last year. Evan Sanders and Grayson Belcher, big wide receivers. I think there's a lot of tension being paid to them. So you may see some offers, but I think they're going to have big years. I think Jonathan Go is going. I think he went over 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns last year. I think he could be another one of those guys. I wrote an article the other day about the year of the quarterback. This could be a 2,000-yard passer with all those athletes to spread the ball around to. I think Jonathan Go has a huge season.
Yeah, I guess the only thing they do replace is their coach. I mean, Coach Bishop retired after last year. Coach
Yeah,
Cudd is the new head coach this year, but he's been with the program for years, so it's not like they have to change everything from top to bottom.
yeah.
Um,
And plus, they got three guys I think back off that offensive line:
yeah,
Bobby Campbell, James Foster, and Mason Tordrip. Uh, that's a good sign. They've had a very good offensive line over the past few years. To return a lot of that experience and size, uh, that that's why I look at Adairsville as the team to beat.
yeah. Campbell's going to be a kid I really like, man. That we probably won't talk about him as much this year, but next year I think he's going to be one of the top offensive linemen in the Northwest Georgia area.
Yep.
Huge, tough kid.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about some Bremen. Bremen Blue
Bremen.
Devils, man, moving up from 5 AA.
Bremen. Caden Sweat, a App State commit, I think already, or has he got an offer?
He is committed to App State.
Okay, this is a big offensive lineman. Offensive lineman.
6'4" and a half, 270.
I saw
Um,
him wearing a number the other day and a picture circulating around the internet. And I've got some questions because
Number
that wasn't an
27.
offensive lineman number.
Yeah,
Uh,
I heard from a little bird, man. I haven't seen him this summer at all. Haven't really seen
yeah.
him that much on Twitter, but I heard possibly he might be at the fullback position this year.
Good luck, every linebacker in this region. 6'4", 270 carrying toting a rock. Uh, good luck.
Yep.
Good luck with that, guys.
Yeah, they had a big senior class last year. I think they lost 16 guys who were starters on both sides of the ball. They still have a few guys down there that have experience. Always have athletes coming through Bremen. They've been to the playoffs 9 straight years,
Yeah.
21 of the last 23 years.
They always seem like a team. They always get the win they need to put themselves in a position to make the postseason. So they could probably continue that on here.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say they might be down this year, and they're worried about, will they make the playoffs? But they're coming from 5-2A, man, which was the toughest double A region in the state in the last
Yeah.
couple of years. So I don't think any team in 6 AAA is going to surprise them.
Yeah, and not only coming from 5 AA, they were a playoff team in 5 AA last year. That's tough, and they've. I think they're going to be region play ready by the time they get to region play. I don't know if you've seen their first 3 games. They're out of region games, real tough. Uh, they're going to start off with Heard County, and then Harrelson, and then they will play Bowden.
Yeah.
So after that stretch to open up the season, I think they'll be ready for region play.
All right. What about everybody's Cinderella of the year, Coahulla Creek?
This is my Cinderella. I don't think it's a Cinderella story. I think they're that good. They've never made the playoffs. I think this team and this group of guys that Coach Wilson has this season, I think they could change that. I think this could be a big year for the Colts. You see a lot of these guys out there working. They're totally committed to this, and I'm cheering them on. I think Case Kinnaman is going to have a big year. I think there's a lot of other players that's going to have a big year. Will Douglas is a great linebacker, and then you got Robbie Wiggins. You got a guy who I think is going to be one of the better receivers in the whole region is Manny Dominguez. Then you've got several other players. Look for a guy named Nate Tilley to have a breakout season. I've seen some great things. I think you got to see him the other day.
I did. I saw
over there at Christian Heritage.
Christian Heritage, 7-on-7, man. I saw him make a couple of great catches. Tough
Yep.
kid, tall.
That will be another target for Kinnaman. So I think this could be a great year for the Colts.
Trying to go in alphabetical order here off the top of my head. So if I mess up, hey, I don't really know my alphabet that well. Gordon Lee.
Gordon Lee. Big question is, can Gordon Lee run the football against AAA defenses? I think they struggled a little bit last year. I know they took a tough loss, a big loss to Lafayette. And Lafayette was a very tough defense, and there's several very similar to that they're going to face this year. That's the big question I have with Gordon Lee. I saw them. I only got to see them play once last season. So that's what I'm wondering. Can they run the football? If they can be competitive for that 4th spot.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough jump from single A to AAA. I know their fan base is excited because they don't have to travel that much this year. They get to play some of the teams they haven't played in a while who are right there in their area.
Yeah.
And they still have Tryon on the schedule.
Yeah.
Longest rivalry in state of Georgia history, I guess.
Gordon Lee Tryon.
Who's next? Ridgeland Panthers.
That would be Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette. The Ramblers.
The Ramblers. This is a team that I like this season. They were 4-6 last year. Barely missed the playoffs. They've got some guys who I think could have big years. I know I just watched an interview the other day, and Coach Scott was talking about Kalis Finley. I think this could be a great athlete, regardless of where he's on the field. I think he's going to be a big contributor. They've got Sam Hall, Austin Tucker is another name, and I'm certain Zach Barrett's the kind of guy who's going to get back. He had an off-season surgery. He had a big season throwing the ball last year, and I think Lafayette returns a lot. And here's one thing about Lafayette. Last year in this region, Rockmart and Ringgold finished 1-2. Probably the 2 toughest teams. There was only one team other than them. There was one team that played both of those teams within 8 points. That was Lafayette. They lost by 7 to Ringgold and lost by 8 to Rockmart. And there's a lot returning from this team. Dawson Pendergrass is a guy that I think could have a big breakout season. So look for Dawson Pendergrass.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but positive stuff about Coach Scott up there too, man. I mean,
Yes,
everybody loves Coach
good
Scott.
dude.
Yep. A team that's really blown up on Twitter this offseason, Lakeview Fort Oglethorpe, the
Yes,
Warriors.
there is a new coaching staff up there. They've got some great athletes. The biggest thing about LFO last season, they could have been in a lot of football games, but they were bitten by the turnover bug there. Uh, it's hard. I watched them play 3 times last year, and I think they took 3 losses, and every one of them was because of the turnovers. So if they can get that under control and find a way to get the ball to the playmakers, uh, I think they can. I think they can be in business here. I think they can compete for that 4th spot. They've got some good dudes up there. I've always been a huge fan of Trayvon Gott. Another guy is a Ladarius Bunch. He's a real compact receiver, athlete. He plays a great cornerback also. A breakout player that I think could have a big season is a guy named Bryce Goins for LFO. Big defensive tackle. I got to see him play. I think he was a sophomore. I think he's a rising junior this year. He's got some good size. I got to see him play a couple times last year, and I watched him play at Gordon Lee. And it's always, big men doing big man dances after a tackle for loss is a national treasure. And I think I got to see him do a couple. I expect him to have a lot of those this season from that defensive side of the ball.
All right, the Ridgeland Panthers.
The Ridgeland Panthers.
Moving down from 7-4A.
This is where we need RJ on here. I am not as well versed with Ridgeland. I've never actually got to see Ridgeland play, and I'll be covering North Murray for Team FYN Sports, and North Murray and Ridgeland will meet this year for the first time in school history. So I am interested in what Ridgeland is bringing. I know they have a new coach. I know they have a former coach who was there, and I know there's some excitement up there, especially Von Bell, I think, was there last season, or just last week running his camp. So there was a lot of folks out for that. So
yeah, if you go back and look at the history of the program, man, they always produce great skill guys. I mean, they've had guys go to the NFL, college every year. I think they're a little bit down this year. They lost their quarterback, running back, linebacker. Well, I'm curious to see what they have.
Yeah. So am I, and I'll get to find out. I think week 3, maybe, what they bring.
This is another team that's we're waiting to see what they're going to have. Ringgold Tigers.
Ringgold Tigers, and you will get to see the Ringgold Tigers this Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. They've got is either a padded camp or a 7-on-7?
It's a 7-on-7.
Okay. Yeah, this is a big question mark, but Ringgold's a team that always produces some pretty good size offensive linemen, and they can always seem to run the football. Returning for Ringgold is a running back named Peyton Williams. This is one of those guys that I think could be an offensive player of the year type guy. So if they can put together a good offensive line, I think Peyton Williams, which will be the feature of that offense, he could have a huge season.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know anything about him other than Peyton Williams. I know they lost a big senior class from last year. That was probably one of their most successful seasons in history.
Yeah, close. They had over 20 some seniors last year. Yeah. I think 12 of them, maybe more, went on to play football at the next level. And so you're replacing a lot of folks. There's a lot of new faces there for Ringgold. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do. You'll get a firsthand look at them Thursday, and see if they can compete for that any of those playoff spots, and see where do you think they rank?
Did we cover them all? Did I miss anybody?
We got Gordon Lee, didn't we?
Gordon Lee. I think we covered all 7.
8. There's 8.
Is there 8?
Yes, there's 8 now.
Ringgold, Ridgeland, Lafayette, LFO, Gordon Lee, Bremen, Adairsville.
Bremen or Dyersville.
All right. Like I said, if you guys want to comment, give us your picks on the Final Four. Uh, join in on YouTube. We get your comments live on the air. Benton, he's unable to join us tonight, man. He's over
Yeah.
in Alabama doing the Northeast Alabama show.
And
Superstar.
Benton says Sam Sarton.
Sam Sarton, Gordon Lee is player to watch, man. 6'5",
Yes, sir.
220.
Yep.
I saw him play basketball last year. Very athletic kid. DE tight end. I think
that could be a breakout player right there.
All right. We'll go player of the year candidates, man. Who are your top player of the year candidates?
Player of the year. I'm going to say Chris Roper at Adairsville. Like I said, this is a guy of many hats. He can play it. It seems like every position on the field. I think he has a huge year. My next one, I'm going Case Kinnaman. I've always said that this Coahuila Creek offense has a lot more firepower than most people realize. I think you're going to see a lot of breakout players this year, and Case Kinnaman is going to be the leader of the group right there. Let me go. I'm going to go Peyton Williams. Peyton Williams at Ringgold. Like I was saying, they always seem to produce a big offensive line, and that would be great news for Peyton Williams. I think he could have 1,000-yard rushing season. So we'll have to wait and see what they look like.
Yeah, I agree with all those selections. I think Peyton's going to have a big year. He had a couple of big games last season.
Yep.
For the Tigers, in kind of a two spot. He'll be the man this season, man. He'll be getting most of the carries up there, and I look for him to have a breakout season. Kinnaman, like you said, strong quarterback, strong arm.
Yep.
I saw him at Christian Heritage last week. I mean, he throws the ball really well. Got a great group of receivers.
Yep.
But my selection, Chris Roper from Adairsville, man, he can get it done both sides of the ball.
Yep.
Defensive back, running back. I actually think he's going to be one of our finalists for overall player of the year in this area. Great kid. I haven't met him. That's on my to-do list, man. I want to meet this kid personally this year. Seems like a very respectable young fella.
Yeah, and I think there's already some attention, some offers for Chris Roper. I could see a lot more after this season.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter the other day, man, he was up at Gardner Webb this past weekend.
Yep.
Like I said, I think he's going to have a huge season. I think Tigers are going to have a huge season. That's going to help him in the recruiting world. Great baseball player to go along with it. Yeah. Great student, first and foremost. I think Benton's not on the show tonight, but he gave me his picks prior. Peyton Williams was his pick of the year.
Okay.
Player of the year. Peyton Williams,
yeah. So we're all thinking along the same lines. We all see the same dudes out there that are pretty good.
And Paul Cavan, he wasn't able to make it tonight, but he sent me his picks also, and he's going with Chris Roper.
Yep.
So
I'd agree with that.
Yep. Roper and Williams, those are the two names that keep coming up. But like I said, man, if you have Sweat at Bremen in that fullback position, I mean, the kid's liable to do some damage. Huh?
Do some damage or carry half the team down the field. That's a big boy running the football right there. So,
all right, man. Let's get to our playoff picks. We'll
playoff picks.
I will let you pick first. Your four. You give us your four and why. Then I'll read off our guest, and then I'll give you mine at the end.
All right, my number one, I'm going with Adairsville. I think this is the team to beat. I think they return the most. The offensive line, the quarterback, the receivers, a player that could be the offensive player of the year. I think they play great defense. So I'm going with Adairsville number one. My number two, I told everybody a few months ago, and I'm sticking with them. I'm going with the Colts here. I like this team from Coahuila Creek. I think there's a lot of good dudes on this team. I think they get it done. I think they have belief now, and I think that's a big thing. They believe in themselves, and they believe in they can win. And just from the outside looking in, I think they can win. And so I'm going with them number two. And the number three team, I was kind of torn between the number 2 and 3. I think they're just about dead even. And I think when they meet, I think it could be for a home playoff game. That's Lafayette. Coach Andy Scott is doing big things over there. A couple years ago, we got to see Lafayette go go to the playoffs for the first time in 20-some years. I think Coach Scott takes them back this year. They're my number 3. And my number 4 could have a very big fullback if the little birdie that's been talking to you is correct. But Bremen is a team that I think they always seem to find a way to win the games they need to win to put themselves in the postseason. I think they do it again this year. I'm going with Bremen. Just that tradition of that football program. I think they don't want to miss out on the playoffs, and I think they find a way to get there this year. Number 4 is Bremen.
Number 4, Bremen. Like I said, I'll put together a chart with all our picks on it, and I'll post that on Twitter later because Tim Toe from Friday Night Press Box, he made his picks, and we'll get them all out there. But me, Paul, and Benton all have the same pick, so this will be pretty easy. Number 1, Adairsville. I think Adairsville is the obvious choice for the reasons you said. They got everybody coming back in all the key positions. I think they're ready. They're excited. I think this is going to be a big year for the Tigers. 2, like I said, I feel like I'm making this pick about a week too early, man. I wish I could wait till next Friday to make this pick because I don't know that much about them. But the Ringo Tigers at number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, Bremen. I
Bremen.
think moving up from 5AA. I think they're ready. I don't think anything will surprise them this year. I think by the time the end of the season rolls around, they'll be good and see them sliding into that number 3 spot. Number 4, like I said, man, flip a coin. I think the Coahulla Creek Lafayette game is going to be huge for both of them. That's going to be one of the can't miss games of the year. I think the winner of that game slides into the number 4 spot, and I am going with the Coahulla Creek Colts at number 4.
All right, I'm on board with the Colts. I think they're going to have a good season.
This is one thing that we promised not to talk about, when we were texting back and forth earlier today.
Yeah.
But how important is it to get that number 1 spot in 6 AAA this year heading into the playoffs?
You want to play Douglas. This is I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at the playoff pairings, which the GHSA released the brackets the other day. 6 AAA is paired up with 5 AAA. And all you got to do is take one look. It's a 4-team region. 3 of these dudes are all top 10 teams. The defending state champ is in that region. The runner-up is also in that region. And the third team in that region, who's probably the 3rd best team, is still a top 10 team in Sandy Creek there. Jameer Latimer, the quarterback, I think he finished 2nd in AAA passing last year, right behind Seth Griffin. I think this is a guy who threw for about 2,700 yards. So 5 AAA, that's a tough region. Douglas is probably the 4th in that region. I don't think they compete well with the other teams they're in there with, but you're going to want to have that home playoff spot. You're going to want to be number 1. I think that's very important when you're talking about the playoffs. So 6 AAA's fight for this region title, it's going to be a tough one. They're going to have to battle for it, but I'm going to tell you, it's going to be important to win this region this year. So I want to see, this play out. I think it's going to be very competitive. I think it's going to be a lot closer than everybody thinks. I know Adairs was very good, but I think some of them other teams can play with them. So it's going to be interesting to watch the fight for that region title and that home number 1 seed for the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's going to be a great season. Can't wait till it gets started. We're about a month away, man, from playing for real. And like I said, I like 7-on-7, but I'm about ready for some real football, man.
Yeah, I'm ready for real football. I like 7-on-7 too, but I see a lot of teams out there that, I wish they could, run fake. I think some of that plays into their passing game. A lot more of that plays in your passing game. I see several teams in this region alone that rely heavily on play action. It's not that effective in 7-on-7, so you can't really get a feel for how the team is going to be because you can't run fake and get a linebacker or a corner to take a step in the wrong direction that opens up a throwing lane for you. And, I know some of these offenses rely heavily on that, especially in this region. So I'm ready for real football. I want to see it. I want to see it all go down.
Well, Chris, I appreciate you joining us again, man. And I guess
Yeah.
our next show is 7-4A, which is another one that's going to be wild this year.
Yeah. We still got to all talk about 7AA when we
Yeah,
get
we got the
when we get time.
7AA one coming. I think that's going to be closer to the start of the season. That's going to be
Yeah.
huge.
That's the big
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a very tough region right there. But
Well,
7-4A. So coming up, 7-4A. I've been saying all along, there's 5 playoff teams there, and there's only 4 spots. So who's it going to be in 7-4A? We'll have to talk about that next week.
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. We'll
See
see
you
you
next go
guys
around.
later.
All right.